Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Baba, today the question is how sanskaras are created or how impressions are created. The reason is recently I saw a message in which there is a Baba quote saying, be extremely careful about physical touches because physical touch could transfer sanskaras from one to the other one. Now, the message says that physical touch is dangerous because of it could be of love or it could be of lust or physical touch could be of something else, and that is dangerous because any physical contact with someone else or sometimes with the opposite gender can create or transfer impressions which could be of great karmic disaster. I'm not very sure if the note taker has taken your message accurately, and that's the reason I thought I will ask you today if you could explain how sanskaras are created and or how impressions are created from physical touch between two individuals. Thank you, Baba.
Jai Baba. Tar Meher Baba ki Jai. Baba's here in his long white sadra, his coat, pink coat, his white pajamas, and smiling away, doing his signature blessing.
With a hand.
The hand, yeah, and saying thumbs up and all good.
Thank you, Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Baba was saying it's most important, as I have always reiterated,
Speak loudly.
to hold on to my daman.
Right, yeah.
And nothing is more important than keeping to that faith and promise. As much as I have promised to look after each of my loved ones, and I reciprocate to your love, I expect all of you to only hold on to my daman, which will only help you when the time is come to cross over peacefully. So, Baba Singh, on that note, if you have anything to ask.
Yes, Baba. Today, my question is related to what you talked about holding on to your daman. So, basically, when we hold on to your daman, how does the impressions carry? My question is about today's question is about impressions or sanskaras. A lot of people say a lot of different things about how impressions are transferred, impressions are created. And it is said that if you touch someone's feet, the impressions are transferred. If you have even have meat eating, the impressions are transferred. So if it is that simple, then all that we need to do is basically keep touching the feet of the great saints and great masters or people with higher spiritual positions, and then all the impressions will be transferred to us. So I have some doubts in that. I'm sure it is not that easy or that simple. There must be much more to it. So my question is about how impressions are transferred from one to the other, and to what extent these are transferred, to what extent it is not, and the pros and cons of those physical touches and how we can leverage that to our best advantage. So it's about impressions.
I was saying very good question and very simple answer to that. Baba Singh, the best analogy I can give is that even as a little kid, you would have done this. Just hold on to your mom's clothing, isn't it? Without even putting a thought. You just stuck to her, to her sari, her dress, or to your dad's, clothing for that comfort, isn't it? Without knowing what you're doing. But that act itself gives you a lot of cushioning and comfort.
Yes.
That you are in a very, very warm and safe space, right? That your best interest is vested in your parents will be your, you are their responsibility. Isn't it? So with no questions asked, you just very naturally do that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because first you have a DNA connect there, and it's your parent, and you feel that comfort that yes, no matter what, my parent is the only people I know who will look after me. And then it extends to your extended family. Isn't it? If you have your grandparents with you, or if you have your elder siblings with you, or if you have younger siblings with you, then they hold on to you, right? Likewise, you hold on to your elder siblings if you have to go with them or cross the road, or so it comes to you very, very naturally, right? So that comes to you as a family unit. So if you say that you are in that bubble, where, or in that capsule, where by and large it's all the same, till you move on, you grow, and then you interact with the outer world, you start going to school, and then you interact with your neighbors, your school friends, your colleagues, your tutors, your teachers, so on and so forth. They also pass on learnings and impressions on you.
Correct.
Right, indirectly or directly. You watch and you learn.
Correct.
Right. Now, if a teacher is teaching you something, you don't question that teacher. You take that teacher in authority and you learn. So when we talk about a teaching impression, then that teaching impression comes on you.
Correct.
Because that teacher is in charge, the teacher has the knowledge, and the teacher is passing it on to you for you to learn.
Correct.
So that impression gets passed on to you. Correct. Now, once that impression is passed on to you, how you build it from there.
Correct.
So not every impression that gets passed on to you, you assimilate or you follow. But if you want to expand on that knowledge, then your thirst takes you to a library. Your thirst takes you to look up more textbooks, discuss that with your other friends, your siblings, your neighbors, whomever you want to discuss with and enhance your knowledge. Isn't that correct?
Correct, yeah.
So it starts from the very basics of your home, and then it expands to the bigger frame of your existence. Likewise, when we talk about impressions being passed on, or you touching a great master, by meeting that great master or touching that great master's feet, yes, you also do absorb to some extent the grace and the compassion of the master. What else can the master give you? If you go to 10 different masters, you cannot be lost from the learnings and teachings of 10 different masters. As I have explained, genetically or DNA wise, you have only one set of parents. Anything else is different from that makeup, isn't it?
Right.
But you learn. If you go and see a great master, you've read about a great master, a saint, a monk, you have the desire to meet, they will pass that blessing to you. The intention is only to pass on a good blessing to you. After that good blessing is passed on to you, if you have a eureka moment, you have a realization, or you are so overwhelmed, or you're so touched by that aura, by the aura in whose presence you are of that great master, that impression will stay on you, isn't it? You will learn, you will also relate to that great master's teaching, isn't it? But at the end of the day, it will be only one guru or one master who will take you across, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
There's no harm in meeting masters and learning or knowing about their teachings, yes, because they also have come with a purpose for the good of mankind, right? There's no other purpose. And if you are spiritually charged and not spiritually ignorant, you will also sense who is a good master, what learnings they have, learnings and teachings they pass on, pure observation from pure reading, assimilating knowledge. You don't discard the goodness. You absorb that goodness. Like was your question on eating meat. From the primitive days, from that awareness was not there. Probably it was a very uncivilized world at that point in time. And for survival, one had to do that. Right?
Meat eating, killing
Meat
animals.
eating,
and
yes. Even barbaric eating human beings also. But as time moved on, as there was more knowledge, more awareness, more exposure to the world, in different ways of travel, right? The nomads, the gypsies, they would just keep traveling, right? With their basic means of transport, maybe their own herd or the horse or whatever they had. That was their basic mode of transport. They moved from one place to the other, and they gathered their learnings, and they understood that, okay, besides this, it was more of experimenting with what was around you. You didn't know whether a fruit on a tree is poisonous or not. By pure experimenting or experiencing it, you they learned what was good and what was not so good, what could be consumed and what could not be consumed. Correct. So slowly, world evolved, right? Gathered impressions and you also dropped impressions, isn't it? But over a period of time, we all know that meat eating, killing an animal before its time, obviously will release toxin. Will release something which is completely out of pure shock, isn't it? If someone is going to kill you right now or going to hold a gun on your head, your entire body language, you will go pale. Your entire body language will be one of fear. Now, what happens in that fear? There's nothing positive that comes out. So that time's moving on with research, with evolution, leaps and bounds ahead. The awareness comes in, the awareness sinks in. But out of sheer habit, out of sheer pleasure to your tongue, to your senses, you continue indulging. You do have the awareness, yes, you know.